Alright guys, today we have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and discuss. We have quite a few topics we're going to be covering in today's video, so before we dive into it, if you could do me a big favor, if you do enjoy videos like this, or if by the end of it you found it informative, be sure to leave it a like. It really helps the videos out more than you know, and if you are new here to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're covering is a report that claims Sony is considering building a chip factory with Taiwan's TSMC to combat chip shortage. So this is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, and it says Japanese publication Nikkei has reported that Sony Corporation is considering building a chip factory in Japan in partnership with Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company in order to combat the ongoing chip shortage. Chip supply constraints have hurt numerous companies in the wider tech industry amid the pandemic, and Sony isn't immune to the issue. While PlayStation 5 consoles only constitute a small portion of the equation, SIE has often quoted chip shortage as the reason for PS5 supply woes. Manufacturing of Sony's other products that utilize chips like cameras has also been affected. Nikkei claims that if things go ahead, the plant will be set up in Kumamoto, southern Japan, and the Japanese government is apparently willing to invest 800 billion yen, which is about $7.15 billion, into the project. Both Sony and TSMC declined to comment on the report. Sony Interactive Entertainment recently claimed that it has acquired enough chipsets for the PS5 to reach its current fiscal year's sales target. However, Japan's Toshiba Corporation sounded the alarm in September, stating that the supply of chips will remain very tight until at least September next year, and that some customers, including console manufacturers, will not be fully served until 2023. Now, I thought this was important to take some time to go over because I've seen a few people talking about this and saying it's great news for the PlayStation 5, and I don't want to burst anybody's bubble, but I don't think that this has much to do with the PS5. I actually thought that it did, but looking into it a little bit further, it seems that this really isn't going to make any difference, and I'm going to tell you why. So I came across an interesting Reddit thread where there were individuals discussing this and people who have a much better understanding of what's going on here. And we have Umbasa saying this is a Japanese government-led operation. They want Japan to start producing their own higher density chips and has offered many billions to TSMC and Sony to build Japan's first 20nm chip plant. This plant is unlikely to be producing PS5 chips, that's 7nm. This will be more for cars, industrial machinery, and home appliances, items that don't require the most cutting-edge and most expensive process nodes. By comparison, the best Japan could do before was 40nm, so this is quite the upgrade for the country, even if 20nm is quite old. And they also put in an edit here where it says, and it's not just Japan, the US is also pushing for semiconductor companies to open new plants locally rather than expanding in Asia. Shortages have everyone spooked. So I wanted to be sure to let you know about this because a few people were asking me to talk about this and celebrate the good news. And again, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news and make it sound like, hey, this is actually not helping the PS5 at all, as he says here, this individual, that it's unlikely to be producing PS5 chips, but we don't know that for sure. The reason why I kind of thought that it wasn't going to have anything to do with the PS5 is because of how long it would take to get this factory built and actually, producing units. It wouldn't be until sometime in like 2024, possibly 2025. By that point, we're many years into the PS5 generation, and you would assume that the shortage would no longer be an issue, right? So just wanted to be sure to let you guys know about that, but we're going to move on to the next topic, which has to do with the PlayStation Japan Play is what they're calling it, live stream, and how it's going to feature Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, and Dragon Quest X. So PlayStation Japan will be hosting another Play live stream later this week. Amongst the games that will feature throughout the hour-long show are Elden Ring, Horizon Forbidden West, and Dragon Quest X, Rise of the Five Tribes Offline. The stream is set to begin at 8 p.m. Japan Standard Time on October 16th, and it's going to be on the PlayStation Japan YouTube channel. There will be new gameplay as well as developer interviews, and so There will be YouTubers that will be interviewing devs on Elden Ring, and we're going to apparently get a fresh look at Horizon Forbidden West, where they're going to highlight new elements as well as a comparison to gameplay from its predecessor. So this is something that if you're interested in any of these titles, you might want to pay attention to this. I'm sure that if there's any significant information revealed about Horizon Forbidden West or even Elden Ring, there will be some write-ups because, you know, again, it's specifically on PlayStation Japan's YouTube channel, but I wanted to be sure to let everybody know about that. The next topic in line has to do with the long-rumored and long-awaited Metal Gear Solid remake, but this is actually a report that seems to let us know, at the very least, the studio that is rumored to be working on the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3, turns out they are working on a big AAA project. They don't explicitly confirm that it's Metal Gear, but it certainly seems to line up with what we've been hearing. So again, reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, it says it looks like Video Game Chronicle's recent report about a Chinese studio being tasked with Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater's remake might turn out to be true. Earlier this month, VGC claimed that it had heard through its sources that Konami is gearing up to revive Metal Gear Solid, Castlevania, and Silent Hill. While rumors about various Metal Gear Solid remake projects have been swirling for a while, VGC's source went a step further to say that Konami has pegged Chinese studio Virtuos to do the job, and the project in question is specifically MGS3 Remake. Now, an internet sleuth has found a LinkedIn profile belonging to a former Virtuos developer, and it mentions an unannounced AAA action-adventure game remake. This was spotted by a Twitter user, and the profile in question is of Ziyang Li, and he apparently worked with Virtuos between April 2016 and June 2019 in 2 different roles. The second role, which he occupied in October 2018, saw him working as the lead software engineer on an unannounced remake. If VGC's report is accurate, the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake has been in development for about 3 years. Lee states that he provided strong support for AAA quality level art production. Additionally, he worked on upgrading the development engine to support 4K on certain platforms. So this was something I wanted to be sure to cover because we did talk about this extensive report from VGC that talks about Konami's plans with their beloved IP, and the Metal Gear Solid 3 remake, for as exciting as it sounds, people were kind of wondering, like, you know, who's working on it. And then we find out that it's Virtuos, and people are a little bit unsure, but it seems that Virtuos has been around for quite some time. They were established in 2004, and they've worked on a number of AAA projects, including the port for Dark Souls Remastered on the Switch, as well as the Outer Worlds. They even helped assist on some games like Uncharted 4: A Thief's End and Horizon Zero Dawn. So I thought that that was important to mention as well, because as I said, there was some concern where it's like, you know, the studio is relatively unknown. By that I mean they're not a studio that's talked about very often, but they have been around for a while. They have worked on multiple things, and based off of this new information we're going over, it seems like this is going to be the case. It sounds like Metal Gear Solid 3 is being remade by this studio, and I'm very excited to see it revealed and learn more about it. So you guys can let me know what you think about that down in the comments below. The next topic in line focuses once again on Sony's London studio and their next PlayStation 5 exclusive. It says here, according to a job description spotted by the folks over at Segment Next, PlayStation London Studios' upcoming PlayStation 5 online game will feature procedural worlds and content. London Studio began actively recruiting for its mystery PS5 IP back in April and published a batch of fresh job opportunities last week. In the absence of any information about the game, fans have been going through the job descriptions to gather clues. Use your knowledge of procedural content generation to help deliver efficient, iterative pipelines for generating AAA environment art, materials, and other art content, reads the job description for a procedural technical artist. The role specifically requires the incumbent to have good knowledge and experience with Houdini and generating procedural worlds, and have experience developing technical art, including procedural content, shaders, tools, and optimization for games. London Studio has previously said that its next game has huge potential, and the new job descriptions make its ambitions known. We are looking for a lead character artist to join our PlayStation first-party studio, reads another ad. This is a unique opportunity to be at the heart of crafting and bringing to life the next PlayStation icon or icons. And so there you go. We still don't know exactly what London Studios' next game is. We're getting more and more information bit by bit through these job openings. And one thing I feel like we can gather from talking about all of these new job openings and positions at different studios that are owned by Sony or partnered with Sony is that Sony is clearly letting many of these studios just go out there and try something completely new, completely different. They're giving them a bigger budget, thus why they have more openings. They're giving them clearly a lot of creative freedom with tasking them with making a AAA IP. And I think that Sony is just trying to empower pretty much all of their studios to do their best work. And part of that is giving them the freedom to experiment and take their time and try new things. And so, yeah, we're going to have to wait to learn more about London Studios' new IP, but nonetheless, it sounds like they're going for something very ambitious, which is always exciting in my opinion. The next topic in line talks about Sony's mobile effort. Apparently, PlayStation makes another move towards expanding their mobile branch by hiring former Apple Arcade content boss. This is reading from PlayStation Universe. A new era of PlayStation is clearly upon us, with Jim Ryan wanting to really bring PlayStation everywhere to millions of people, and part of that dream is strengthening Sony's mobile offerings, which is why it seems Sony has just hired former Apple Arcade content boss Nicola Sebastiani, hopefully I'm saying his name correctly, to lead the charge on bringing PlayStation IP to mobile. The news comes from website VGC, who spotted an update on Sebastiani's LinkedIn profile, stating that he had started with PlayStation back in July after having been with Apple for over 7.5 years. So this was something I definitely wanted to be sure to let you guys know about, because we did get those comments recently from Jim Ryan, where he says that he hopes that PlayStation's games will be able to be enjoyed by not just tens of millions of people, but hundreds of millions. And one of the ways that I think Sony is clearly going to try to achieve that is through mobile, right? They're not necessarily going to do it in the same way that, say, Microsoft is through something like xCloud, although we do know that Sony has plans with the cloud, so we could end up seeing something like that. But it sounds more like Sony wants to create just specific versions of their IP and their games, but that work on mobile, and just kind of expanding it in that way. And so them hiring this individual is clearly letting us know that they are much more serious about it this time around, and they don't want it to just be kind of an afterthought. I don't necessarily think they're making it the main priority, but when it comes to expanding the PlayStation brand and getting these characters, these games, this IP in front of more eyes, I think that this is taking a priority in that sense. So yeah, wanted to be sure to let you guys know about that. We'll have to continue to follow, news on PlayStation's mobile efforts, and I'll update you guys when we get more info. The next topic in line, though, talks once again about game trials. Now, game trials are essentially extended demos that Sony is offering where you can try before you buy. As of right now, we only have Death Stranding and Sackboy: A Big Adventure, but apparently another third-party multi-platform title was recently added, that being Biomutant. It says here the news comes from the developers tweeting out that you are able to go download a game trial for Biomutant right now and play through the first 5 hours of the game before needing to buy it. And I thought that this was really interesting, because I think when people saw that this game trials thing that Sony is putting out here only pertains to Death Stranding and Sackboy: Big Adventure, people kind of looked into that and they're like, well, these are probably the PlayStation exclusives that aren't selling as well, at least at this point in time, which I guess is maybe true. I don't know if that's true for Death Stranding Director's Cut. I mean, that just came out, but it could be struggling in sales. What we do know is that Death Stranding is one of those games where people are very unsure about the gameplay loop, so maybe that is kind of one of the reasons why Sony's like, let's do it for Death Stranding. People can try it. Seems that there is something there that people like, but they have to kind of experience it for themselves. But now we're seeing a third-party multi-platform title being added to this program. And this gives me a lot of hope, because This means that some publishers are clearly interested in this. I saw some people saying that this is going to end up being a thing that just kind of doesn't work out or goes away, because publishers are not going to want to offer extended demos or trials of their games. They're just going to want people to buy their games based off of trailers and everything else. And I do agree that that's probably going to be the case going forward, right, for the majority of games and developers. But I think that this game trials program could be a great way for, developers whose games have been out for a little while and maybe they're just not selling that great anymore. They're not really, being talked about, or just kind of, taking a back seat at this point. Put it into game trials, let people play for 4 to 6 hours. I think that that's just a great thing. And if you're somebody who was very unsure about a game or decided to pass on a game for one reason or another, you end up finding out, hey, it's part of the, PlayStation game trials. Go try it out, right? This is something that we have been talking about for a while when it comes to the PS5, when we've been hearing about it for some time. That is the try before you buy thing. And it's not necessarily in publishers' best interest. It's in our best interest. So I'm very glad to see that Sony is pursuing this, and that, it's just one game right now, that being Biomutant, but that gives me hope that we'll start to see more third-party multi-plat titles hit this program, and I think it could just ultimately be a good thing. So here's hoping that this program continues to garner more support. But we're moving on to the next topic, which talks about Alan Wake Remastered. I wanted to talk about this because it seems that Remedy came out and they said, look, we hope that PlayStation gamers enjoy this game due to their appreciation of narrative titles. And that makes sense, right? That's what PlayStation is very well known for. That is what PlayStation fans kind of flock to. And it turns out that PlayStation fans were very supportive of Alan Wake Remastered making its debut on PlayStation, because Christopher Dring took to Twitter to let us know that Alan Wake Remastered was number 5 in the UK boxed charts. 84% of its sales were on PlayStation platforms. And so I wanted to at least take a moment here to acknowledge this, because it's just nice to see a game that was once exclusive to the Xbox 360. It took a while, but it made its way to PlayStation, and PlayStation fans embraced it with open arms. And it makes sense that they would, because Alan Wake has always been looked at as a great narrative-driven title. And apparently Remedy, they had some hope here that, hey, I hope PlayStation fans support it and like it. And that's exactly what ended up happening. And I'm sure it's, doing okay on Xbox as well, but we do have to understand it was out on Xbox for many, many years. So Xbox players have always had access to this game. But I just thought that this was worth highlighting, because, Remedy, they don't seem to have a partnership with Xbox to any extent anymore. And PlayStation fans, I think, are happy about that, because we're enjoying the games that Remedy's bringing, right? Control, and now Alan Wake Remastered. And you have to assume that at some point in time, they're going to end up working with Sony on some type of exclusive. We'll have to wait and see about that. But there you go. Let me know down in the comments below if you picked up Alan Wake Remastered. And if so, if it's your first time playing it, how are you enjoying it? The next topic in line talks about Knockout City, because apparently a trophy list for this title for the PS5 version has seemingly revealed a native PS5 port. So Knockout City is currently only available to play on PlayStation 5 by downloading the PS4 version and playing it via backward compatibility. That looks set to change soon if a new Knockout City PS5 trophy list on Exophase is anything to go by. Its appearance seems to suggest that a native PS5 version will be arriving relatively soon. Now, it's worth noting that the developer of this title, nor EA, have said anything about a next-gen version of Knockout City. But again, this is what this trophy list seems to suggest. And so it says for now, we do know the PS5 version will be an identical trophy list to the PS4 version. This means that there will be a total of 51 trophies, including the Platinum Trophy. It's unknown if trophies earned in the PS4 version will automatically unlock in the PS5 version. And so there you go. If you are somebody who is a fan of this game, Knockout City, I think it's actually pretty popular, if I'm not mistaken, and you play it on PS5, they will have a native PS5 version. I mean, we don't have it officially confirmed, but this seems to be, what's going to happen and what it's alluding to. The next topic in line talks about another title that is apparently making its way to PlayStation, that being Among Us. And so it says Among Us will launch for PlayStation and Xbox later than intended, but still in 2021. Among Us has maintained impressive momentum since its sudden explosion of popularity last year. And so in a recent blog update, the community director for the title assured fans that Among Us is still coming to PlayStation and Xbox consoles in 2021, though it will launch a little later than originally planned. We are still on track for console release this year, albeit later than we originally intended, because this next update is more than just a simple patch and will introduce, hopefully, 2 big changes to the game, making sure they're up to snuff and compatible across all platforms. PC, mobile, console means that there are way more blockers coming for us. And so, yeah, essentially what they're coming out here and saying is that it's still going to launch this year. I mean, there's always the possibility it could get delayed into next year, but they just want to make sure that it's not like half-baked or not ready and they're not just going to put it out there. They want to make sure that the quality level is, you know, what people would expect. So if you are somebody who has been waiting patiently for Among Us to launch on PlayStation, this is the latest update. Moving on to the next topic, we're briefly talking about Call of Duty Vanguard because it was confirmed once again, to no one's surprise, that if you are playing Call of Duty Vanguard on PS4 or PS5, you're going to get exclusive benefits. This was revealed in the latest trailer that showcased the story and the campaign of Call of Duty Vanguard. And at the end of it, it said Call of Duty Vanguard get exclusive benefits on PlayStation. And so that includes both PS5 and PS4. We don't know exactly what that's going to be, but we do know that it's going to last until November 1st, 2022. You have to assume that it's probably going to be for some type of skins, you know, cosmetic content. That seems to be what it pertains to these days. And so, you know, there's going to be a lot of people buying Call of Duty Vanguard, and I don't know how much this really matters to people. I don't know, like, that this is a difference maker. I feel like back in the day it used to be, when it was like map packs and stuff like that, getting them like a month early, getting content like that a month early. But now we're just talking about skins and smaller stuff. And so there might be something for zombies as well, like we saw with Black Ops Cold War. But there you go. It's continuing with Call of Duty Vanguard. And the final topic we're focusing on in this video has to do with the GTA Definitive Trilogy. We have some new rumors and information regarding this trilogy of games that people are very much looking forward to. It says here Rockstar Games will launch physical versions of the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition on PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One in December of 2021, with PS5 and Xbox Series versions arriving in 2022. Polish publication PPE has been told by retailer sources that the bundle, which includes remasters of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas, will only launch this year for previous gen consoles, and that the next gen versions won't turn up until 2022. And so it says here, it's worth noting that Rockstar has confirmed that the bundle will launch this year for all formats apart from mobile. So even if the PS5 and Xbox Series versions don't turn up until 2022, this could still launch, they could still launch digitally this year. So that is something that's important and certainly worth taking note of. Something else that came out is apparently, according to base.com, the versions releasing for Sony and Microsoft's latest home consoles will cost $70. So we're looking at a full-priced game here when it comes to this trilogy. So it's technically 3 games, but I think that some people are not going to be happy about that. And it's really going to depend on how significant these remasters actually are. Some people are going to be expecting way more than just a nice touch-up, right? If you're going to be paying $70, which I think is totally fair. So yeah, there you go. That's the latest information we have when it comes to the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition, or whatever it's being called. I mean, it's getting redundant at this point, but you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments below about everything we talked about. Again, if you did enjoy the video or you found it informative, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.